everyone, and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division with the tournament win. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so let's go. We're going to start off with hole number 1, and before I take my first shot, do not forget to look down in the video description down below to get direct timestamp for the holes in this playthrough. So if you do not want to watch hole number 1, you can go directly to hole number 5 if you want to by clicking on the time just after hole number 5. So in Rookie we do play from the first tee, and we're going to play a mix of the Greenock Point, the Milano and the Southern Pines. I'm going to take you through it and give you the best advice on how to play these holes. So we're going to start off by playing with the extra mile. You can play with the quarterback here as well, but I do suggest that if you're going to play with the quarterback, then you play with a power 2 ball at least, because you're going to have such a low amount of distance compared to the extra mile. But now we're playing with the extra mile, 3.8 in tailwind with a navigator, so we're playing only with a power 1 ball, 2 bars of topspin and max side spin to the right, like all the side spin that I do have on a navigator, which it's a little bit more than 2 bars. I play this one 1.4 rings, and I wanted to aim so I'm not endangering the rough and the bunker on the left. That is very, very important. So, and as you can see, we do get it to bounce, we do get it to roll there, and you can see we're not near close to the rough, but it doesn't really matter because we do not care about that. We only care about being there on the fairway. That is why it could be very good for you to actually play with a quarterback, because that would definitely help you big time with the ball guideline and stuff like that. But if you do have the quarterbacking like a very low level, then again I would be staying with the extra mile, because the distance is very valuable to have. Now, for the second shot, we are going to take away 10% to our adjustment because we're playing slightly uphill. And with the Viper here, when going into here, it's very hard to rely on the ball guideline here. And the thing that we're going to do is to rely on the ball guideline with the knowledge of that we do not have max ball guideline on the Viper level 7. So I'm going to use this spot where I do have the yellow ring, just cutting the rough on the top. And as you see here, it looks like we're going to come in short when I'm using a bit of backspin. Then I decide to take away and just rely on the ball guideline. But you're going to see that they're going to come in hot. And that just means that we're going to need to play with half a bar to a bar of backspin. 3.1 being in between medium and maximum distance. It gives us 1.3 rings with the Viper. You can see this is the angle you look for here, that we're going to be on a lower point, and then we're going to follow the rough up there, and then we're going to have to take away 10% to our adjustment. And when I say take away and add, it means that we're playing either uphill or downhill. And for an easier reference, it's very important that you understand that we're going to have to add when it's played downhill, because the ball is going to be affected more by the wind. Now we're going to play with a power 3 ball on hole number 2, and hole number 2 is a par 4, and we're going to play it on the left side. The reason I do that is because I do want to give myself a good opportunity from distance. Sure, if you do have a club with more distance and more topspin, then you can play in the center by using a lot of curl as well. Now 2.4 is going to give us 1 ring with the extra mile with a power 3 ball like the Titan. 2 bars of topspin only. We do hit it great, which is going to be risky, but even with great, we're going to have enough distance with the topspin to roll in the rough to roll out in the fairway. So worst case scenario here would be that you hit the rough, roll out in the fairway, and then you maybe wonder, why, Tommy, don't you use more topspin? The reason I don't use more topspin is because we otherwise is going to be flirting with the rough on top, which is not going to be the thing that we do want, because we do want to stay on the fairway, and that we will do with 2 bars of topspin. So our opponent is going to try to go in the middle here with the prestige ball, which gives power 4. I wouldn't suggest that though. I don't think this is the play to go with. Sure, if you do have a bunch of berserkers for some reason, then you could definitely play that way and try to go straight forward. But again, you need to overpower, and the overpower is going to always be risky. And we're going to risk going into the rough or into the bunker. And from this position, amongst those purple bushes there, that is going to be a position where you will not be able to have a shot for the green. Then you need to rely on that your opponent is going to hit it towards the pin or like in the hole. Now we're going to be in between medium and minimum distance, and as you can see, I'm going for the rough bump. Why do I do that? The reason I do that is because we do not have enough backspin on our club. And then you maybe wonder, again, is this going to be the best position for our shot? Yeah, it's for a drive to do, so you can play right, play more conservative. Yes, sure, but again, you're going to have to bounce over the rough and the bunker. Here we basically take it away, and we're going to use the rough as a rough bump there. If you do have a guardian, let's say you have a guardian level 1, level 2, you're still going to have enough backspin to make the ball stay there. And now I'm just focusing to get this ball to the green without risking anything here. If you would be reaching further with the drive, we would be playing with a long iron, and the Saturn would be the best club there if you do have that one, or a backbone with enough backspin. So hole number 3, par 3. And now we're going to play on the left side. I know that the right side is definitely going to be applied in some cases, but we're going to start off by choosing to play on the left side. Play with a katana ball, and we're going to play katana ball combined with a quarterback here. And you can see we're going to play the quarterback in minimum distance of our club, so we're going to go with 3 bars of backspin combined with like a little bit more, so it's 3.1 backspin or something like that. Max side spin to the right, and from this position we do have 2.4 in wind, and now we're going to adjust this one for being 2 rings as we're playing minimum distance. But the something that I do forget to say here is that we do add 20% to our adjustment to get to the spot that we want to, so 20% extra. And we want to hit the left side there. Now we did hit too much inside because we did hit it great, and that will take away the momentum of getting that push from the fairway on the left there. Our opponent's going to play the same way here, and this is the most common way to play this hole, and it's the most secure way to get a birdie. And again, you can play on the right side if you want to. It's basically the same type of approach in terms of setup. The only difference is that you do want to use a different type of spin adjustment there. Might going to show you that further in the tournament, but in the end, with the clubs that we do have, I believe the left side is definitely going to be better. So our opponent does a different approach, but he will not be making a what can I say, a hole-in-one, and he comes in without that kick and will fall back down, and that is the risk that you do take. You do want to aim so you get to the top of the green, fall back down towards spin for a possible hole-in-one. Hole number 4, and now I'm going to play with a big topper, and here you can basically play with whatever driver you want to. The reason I'm playing with a big topper here is that I do want to use the top spin and take away the risk of having to go with any type of overpower. Now I'm still going to use my big topper from not max distance because of the really strong overpower here. Sorry, really strong top spin. You can see 3.6, not going to give us much. 1 ring, basically 1.1, 1.2 rings, but like 1 ring, then you're going to be good. Slight amount of curl to the right, just some baby curl to the right to get this ball as close there to the right side as possible without endangering the rough. We do not get the roll there because the ball is basically going to stop. But if we do get to this part where we can see the shadows, then we're going to be golden. We're not going to have no problem to reach for the green in 2. So our opponent here is going with a Marlin ball and the extra level 6, and that is possible that as well. And also going with a basic ball is possible. I suggest that you do have a ball with some side spin. That is why I'm choosing a Quasar, because I do want in that way to have the side spin for the next shot. And I never want to be overpowering a shot if I don't have to. So, but now this shot is going to be okay. Going to stay nicely there before the rough and gain a bit more distance, which is going to be positive for our opponent. So our second shot here, we're going to go for the pin, but now we are in a situation where it's very dangerous for us. The reason it's dangerous is because we do have the right side in play. So I'm going to line up, and I'm not going to be that focused on approaching this pin, because I do not want to play with the rough on the right, because if I fall back down, I'm going to be screwed big time, and I'm not going to have the backspin enough to get the ball to stay on the fairway for the second one. I'm going to play this one for 1.4 rings. We are in minimum distance of our club. As you can see, we're playing slightly downhill as well, which also means that the ball is going to be less affected by the wind. Slight amount of curl to just keep myself on the right side and get it up to the green for a safe birdie. So I would say, like, if we do gain this low distance that we did get on hole number 4 with a drive, then I would definitely see it as we would be necessary to just focus on getting that birdie. If we gain a little bit more distance, then we can play a little bit more aggressively, because we do have more green to work with. Now we play with the Titan and the big topper 4, and here I would suggest, if you do have power 5 ball like Berserker or the gear ball, play with that one, because you do want to have the distance, not maybe for the first shot but for the second shot. And I'm playing with the big topper as I only have the extra mile level 5. If I would be having the extra mile level 8, Thor's Hammer 5, 6, 7, Apocalypse 5, 6, 7, then I would be playing with those clubs instead. For the shot here that we're going to make with our drive, it's going to be played 10% extra, because we're playing downhill. As you can see, I did stretch out my adjustment there to look for the landing position where I wanted to, and then drag back from there. And now we do want to have a favorable bounce, so we do gain as much distance as possible. And now from this distance, I'm going to play very aggressively, which you're going to see. If you do decide to play this shot with maybe like an extra mile level 5, level 6, and you're not going to even play with a power 3 ball, then you can say goodbye to reaching close to the green, and then you're going to lay up in the best possible way for you instead, giving yourself the opportunity from distance to make an eagle. I would have to say that this hole will be a bonus for you if you do get the eagle. There will not be many players that do get the eagle on this particular hole. So, second shot here for us, and we're going to play with the big dog. And the big dog here gives us the distance, it gives us topspin. There was a question in chat while streaming that can't you play this one with the horizon? Yes, you can. You do have more topspin, but in the end you do want to have the distance as well. So it's kind of a 50-50 in my opinion, but it works. 3.5, now we can already see that even if we stretch the ball out and hitting max overpower, and then we still going to hit the fairway even if we go max overpower. And we need to risk it to try to get over to the fairway spot just over the rough there. As you could see, I was aiming. I hit it great. And we bounce it. And we bounce it in the rough, and we're getting so close, so close, so close. And from this position, we're going to have a rough iron towards the pin. And what is important then, the important part here with the rough, is that you do have a rough iron with a lot of backspin. And then you can decide if you feel comfortable enough, you go for the dunk. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you go with a double bounce, try to get that ball in the hole. So our opponent's going to try the same shot, but as you can see, with a Marlin with a power 0, which is power 0, this is going to be... yeah, it's definitely the wrong ball to play with here. Now the shot goes good, but goes into the bunker, and from the bunker here, it's not going to be easy for you to get the ball to stay on the green for the second shot. So, we do have the machete just because of the backspin. The backspin here is absolutely incredibly good. And now I'm going to aim for the double bounce, because I don't feel comfortable with the machete to go for the dunk. But in the end, it's definitely a good approach to bounce. Trying to aim up for the double bounce here. Have in mind that this shot is going to be very less affected by the wind, because we are playing this one slightly uphill. So I'm just going to add like 0.3, 0.4 rings here. And then it's always to focus on hitting the ball perfect with the rough iron. We hit it perfect, but we're going to hit the pin and we're going to miss. And that makes us go to hole number 6. Now it's time to play with the backbone. We are not going to play with the rough bump because we are going to be in between clubs if we're going to play with the backbone. I'm going to play with a power 1 ball, which is going to give me max distance of my club. And I'm going to play with tailwind here. I'm going to play almost 4 bars of backspin. I'm going to go with slight amount of side spin to the right, half a bar to the right. I'm going to have the landing position that we do have that a little bit more than half of the red ring, just cutting inside the rough on the right. Just almost half. We could go with a little bit more, but we decide to do this. 2.1 rings. We play 10% extra because it's downhill. So we hit it perfect. I'm going to bounce here on the island. Getting a nice bounce, we're getting a nice and slowly roll, just taking the edge of the left side there, getting a hole in one, which is absolutely worth a boom. So this is definitely going to be a hole where we're going to see a lot of hole in ones, in my opinion, because the bounce there with this type of wind is going to travel us towards the pin nicely there. The thing that we can change is that we either move our landing position a little bit more to the right, or we do go with 1 bar of side spin with our shot instead, because of us getting just to the left side there of the cup, and we do not want to have it that risky. We do want to hit it straight in, but definitely no matter what way we get an hole in one, we're going to be happy. Hole number 7, one of my favorite par 4s, and here I'm going to go for the eagle big time. And I think this is going to be a key hole, because with the drive here we're going to put ourselves close there to the rough on top and gain a good opportunity for an eagle from distance. Max top spin, 4.5 bar is that. Max side spin with a tighten. The reason I'm using a tighten is that I do not want to stretch my ball out. Stretch my adjustment out and adjust from overpower situation with my driver. 4.1 is going to give myself a little bit more than going to give myself 1.9 rings, but I'm playing at 2 rings to just have a little bit more room as the ball, if the ball is going to carry my ball a little bit further than expected. So 2 rings with 4.1, and that is going to be with 10% added as well, because we're playing downhill. Hit exactly the spot that we were aiming for, getting a ball to bounce very nicely there to the top, and from this distance we're going to have a very good opportunity to make an eagle. So if you do not feel comfortable going over on the left side, then you can play on the right side, and that is definitely going to be not harder in terms of making the drive, but in terms of making the eagle, it's definitely going to be harder for you. It's going to be harder for you to get it, as you're going to have it further away from the green. So now it's our turn to get it here. We do have 4.5 in wind. We do have the thorn level 3. We are in minimum distance of our club. That we will have to have in mind. So I'm playing this one bar side spin to left and 5 bars backspin. The reason I do with 1 side spin to the left is to make the arrow point in terms of the angle of the wind. Going to have it very close to the hole, as because of the backspin I don't want to go short in line. I'm going to play this one in minimum distance of my club, which is going to give myself 1.2 rings. Now you can see I was in minimum distance here, and I did go back to the cutoff there. And the thing that I had to do is go with 1 bar more backspin, so I don't have to underpower my shot. But now it turned out well, and we took the eagle. Hole number 8, par 3, the last par 3 of the tournament. And now we're going to play with the Viper, and we're going to play it as we have normally done. The thing that has changed for this one is that this hole is a little bit more bumpy than before. And also the roll from the top of the green is a little bit slower than before. So the importance here for you is that you need to get the ball up to the top, fall back down towards the pin, to gain the speed that is necessary to get it in the hole. Our opponent's going with a little bit too much side spin here, in my opinion. Sorry, a little bit too much curl, in my opinion. which in this case is going to put him up here on the fringe. And this wedge is not easy, guys. It's not easy because we're playing slightly downhill, and we're going to, for our opponent's side, we're going to have a little bit when it comes to crosswind. Now, my adjustment here is I'm going to go max side spin to the right, 1 bar top spin. Going to be in medium distance of my club. I'm having the red ring just cutting the rough on the right. You can see there with my landing position. The second bounce is going to be just like 1 or 2 squares behind the shadow on the green. Now I play it in medium distance of my club with 10% extra because we're playing slightly downhill. Baby curl to the right. I'm gonna get it to bounce there nicely, coming up there to the hill, and you can see the speed that we're coming down with here. It's just going to be enough to get the ball in the hole if we would be, in that case, coming in a little bit more to the right. So the thing that I wanted to do there for the next time is I'm going to go with a little bit more curl to the right, then we're going to be golden. Last but not least, we're going to play hole number 9. Hole number 9 is going to be difficult, and here we need to play it in a very technical way, I will have to say. We need to pick the right club, we need to pick the right ball, otherwise we will have no chance to reach for the green in 2. Our opponent is picking both of them in a wrong way, so he's not picking the right club, he's not picking the right ball, which means that our opponent is not, no matter if he bounces over the rough and the bunker here or not, he's not going to reach for the green in 2. That's just going to be impossible with a power 0 ball and the less amount of topspin that you do have on the extra mile. So what to do then? I'm going to play with the big topper here, which is going to give myself 2.4 miles per hour with a Titan. So the top spin that we do want to have 1.5 bar of side spin to the left, because we do want to stay away from the right side, because the only dangerous part here, as we have to overpower our shot, is to get into the rough on the right side. That will definitely make us not reach for the green. Sure, on the left side as well, but we do have a lot of room on the left side, so we can stay away from the rough there. So I do go overpower. I don't go max overpower, because having max overpower is going to make it difficult for me to hit it perfect while overpowering. Now I hit it massively great, and now I'm going to be thankful for the side spin I did put to the left. But also now we are being very close to the trees on the right, and now we do need to curl it for a second shot, and that is always going to be a bit dangerous. What to change for the drive, except for hitting the ball perfect when we do make it as overpowered shot? The thing to change there is that you do play with a power 4 or a power 5 ball, if you have one. If you did invest with a prestige ball, you can play with that one. If you do have a berserker ball, one from the golden shot, or from getting those free berserker shot that you did get from the game just a couple of weeks back, play with one of them, because that is going to take away a bunch of the overpowering that you will otherwise have to do with the big topper, and that is going to make it easy for you to hit it perfect and gain more distance after the rough and from the bunker. But the big topper is going to be the club if you're not having a club like Extra Mile level 7 plus, or like Thor's Hammer level 5, 6, or Apocalypse level 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I'm going to try to see, like, can we play through the trees now? Too risky. So I'm going to go max top spin, max side spin. The thing that I'm going to look for here is not to get this ball in the hole. I'm looking for a way for us here to get it to bounce into the rough, roll out on either the fairway or fringe or green, to make myself an easy wedge or an easy putt towards the eagle, because that is the thing that we're looking for. So I'm drawing out so I can estimate how far the ball guideline is going to go. I adjust my rings with 10% extra, moving back to max distance, and then I'm moving back again, just that I do want to go with curl and I don't want to risk missing on the right side here. A very technical shot and a hard shot maybe to understand, but the result that we're looking for is to bounce through the rough. And the way to stay away from having to do a shot like that is to make the drive even better. So if you can spare a power 4, power 5 ball with a big topper to kind of take away the risk of having to overpower that much, please do. That makes the second shot be much easier. But the second shot is going to be Max distance of your club, 10% extra, max topspin, max side spin to the right, and go for the rough. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was a playthrough for Rookie Division with the tournament win in the Platinum Resorts tournament. If you do have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Here in the end, this video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Platinum Resorts tournament.